Hello, everybody, wrestling fans especially. This is Kenny Cummins here of Chilling with Kenny C. Right here on TMVCafe.com, bringing you entertainment to your ears. I got another wrestling interview for you all, and joining me at this time is representing FTC Wrestling. She's known for the muscles. She's known for the body slams. She's the powerhouse of the women's division, I have to say. She goes by the name of Sarah Bubbles, and she's with me right now. How's it going?
Hey, just getting ready for some training tonight.
All right. So thank you so much for taking this time. This is something that an interview in particular that I've been wanting to do since I first met you at the
Oh, thank you.
inaugural at the inaugural Bluegrass Wrestling Con, which was some
Mhm,
years back. So I've been following you since then, and we've met each other at that particular convention throughout the years. And of course, I'm familiar with FTC Wrestling with Bobby Blaze and company. Such an incredible promotion. So we'll get into all that right now. First things first, talk a little bit about how you got started into wrestling.
So this is always an interesting story, and I'll try to keep it brief, but, I'm not your typical wrestling, story, so I'm not like one of those, "I've always wanted to be a wrestler my whole life." I'm not that person. I actually didn't follow wrestling until I started training. I have a friend better known as Brox Boulder, and he actually kinda talked me into it, and at first I thought he was crazy. But I promised him that I would come to training for 2 weeks, and then he said if I didn't love it by the end of the 2 weeks, I could quit. Well, at the end of the first night, I told myself I wasn't gonna go back, but I had a girlfriend that said that I had promised 2 weeks, so I was at least gonna finish out those 2 weeks, and by the end of the 2 weeks, I was in love with it. I was obsessed, and so I guess the rest is history because 'cause I've been in it for a little over 2 years now.
All right, so 2 years in, how are you feeling of your progress as a wrestler from when you got started all the way to now?
I feel like I've learned so much. I always tell this story. The very first night, Bobby was trying to tell me something, and I had to stop him mid sentence because I didn't know what a turnbuckle was. um, but now, like, I'm doing, cross bodies, I'm doing neck breakers, I'm doing body slams, I'm doing suplexes, and I'm throwing these in matches when on my first night I didn't know what a turnbuckle was. So, to come from literally not knowing anything to knowing enough to put together a match and not just moves, but knowing and understanding the psychology behind wrestling, I feel like that's super important as well. It took a lot of learning, not just during training, but in the off time as well. So, not only the physical part, but the mental part. It took a lot of hard work and dedication, and I'm still not anywhere near where I need to be. I'm still learning and training every single day. Like I said, as soon as we're done with this podcast, I'm actually going to go into training. I'm sitting in our parking lot right now so that once I'm done, I can walk right into the training facility and get going for the evening. Um, so it's constant work, but I feel like I've had a massive improvement since my very first day.
You definitely showing a lot of dedication, considering that even with this interview you're doing right now, you're in the parking lot, and once this interview ends, you're going straight to training mode. So that's awesome to hear. And I've heard a lot of good things about you. I've seen some of your matches via YouTube. I don't think I've ever seen you wrestle in person before, but I hope that day will come. I have been to an FTC show. It was at one of the fairs in Ashland, I believe it was. And, Bobby Blaze, shout out to him, a constant professional. He really believes in his talent and what they can deliver in the tri state area, from Ohio to Kentucky and so forth. And it shows. What's it like to have Bobby just see you grow and progress as a wrestler. I always like to just to have his his knowledge as you go forward with your career.
Well, first, Kenny, let me tell you this. You came to the one fair show that I took off the whole summer. We had an action-packed summer. We went to all sorts of fairs, all sorts of festivals. That one that you came to was on a Wednesday night, and it was almost 2 hours away from my house, and I'm a single mom of 2 young children, and I thought, "There is no way I can drive all the way out there and then get up early the next morning for my shoot job and have to make my kids stay at the babysitters super late and then get them up super early to get them back to the babysitters." So I just told them, like, I simply am not available for that middle of the week show. And then I heard you were there and I thought, "Oh my gosh, are you serious?" Like the one show that I take off. But I'm like, that's one of these days, man. One of these days. But back to your question though, when I first met Bobby, I had no idea who he was. And I know when I tell a lot of people that, they're like, "Are you serious?" I'm like, I didn't follow wrestling. But of course, once I realized, like, some of the guys that I train with, they're like, "You have to figure out who he is. Like, that's the first thing you got to do is research him." So I did. And I found out, like, I should be more appreciative of who is training me right now. You know what I mean? And so once I figured out, like, he's world renowned, he's not just a local legend, he's world renowned. And if you ever go to like these WrestleCons and stuff, all the legends, they want to talk to Bobby Blaze. They want to hear what he has to say because not only is he an amazing trainer, but he was trained by some of the most famous trainers in the world. He was trained by the Malenkos. You know what I mean? Like, he went to Japan, he went to Australia, he went to South America. Like, I always say, and this, I don't know if this is true or not, but I say it anyway. I say he has wrestled on 6 of the 7 continents because who really wants to wrestle in Antarctica? Like, but he is so amazing, and he'll tell us, he'll say, "Now when you go out there, you're allowed to say one of 3 things. I'll let you say that I trained you, or I'll let you say that I helped you, or you don't even mention my name and don't tell people that you know me at all." So it's really cool to get to that level where he will let you say that he trained you, because that's, like, really a sign that Bobby has faith in you, that Bobby is proud of the work that you've produced and proud of the progress that you have made. And so it's almost like every day you're pushing and you're pushing to prove yourself to him, but also to yourself, to show that you've really done it. Like, you've really put forth the effort and you've made that progress, to show that Bobby Blaze has trained you. Not just that he's helped you, not that he doesn't even know who you are, even though you attend his school, that he he trained you. And a little, like, thing that people we don't talk about a lot at the school, but it happens. Bobby is terrible with names, like, so bad with them. And so, just a little inside thing is, if you can get Bobby to remember your name, that's like the first step. That's how you know you're doing something right. It might not necessarily be wrestling, but it's something. Like, so the fact that he remembers my name, I'm like, okay, yeah, that's good. So it's amazing to work with Bobby. He's definitely a different type of trainer. He's he really individualizes. There are a lot of wrestling schools out there where they're teaching one style of wrestling. They're training to the masses, or they're training their style of wrestling. Bobby doesn't do that. He'll send us YouTube videos, like, specifically, like, he'll send me a YouTube video and say, "Watch this match and then tell me what you think I wanted you to see out of it." Or he'll say, "Watch this spot that this girl did. I think it would work well for you." Um, and then, in training, he'll say, "Now this is a move that all of you could do." Or he'll say, "Now this is a move just for the bigger guys or just for the smaller guys." And with us girls, it's like a guys is a general term, and we just know that. Like, we're just used to it, but he really does. He teaches things that could be for everyone, or he'll teach things that are specific to each person or specific to certain types of wrestlers. So he takes the time to not just teach, well, this is how you wrestle and that's the end of it. But he takes the time to teach, this is what could work for you. Or he'll say, now this might not work for you. So let's try something else. And you don't get that at every wrestling school.
That is true, which is very important for aspiring wrestlers. Definitely do some research on these training schools.
Mhm.
to get the reviews in, see what they've learned, see what went right, what went wrong, obviously, and that gets you where you want to be.
Mhm.
Um, and people, there's no denying that people they want to wrestle, they want to do things, but it's important to find that training skill is gonna um, bring the best out of you and take you where you want to be, obviously. So Bobby Blaze is truly one of a kind. He's a constant professional, and that he's just an overall good person. He wants to see his talent, his students succeed. So uh, that's good to know. And shout out to Bobby Blaze. And you brought up the Wednesday show. I literally drove there right after I got off of work. See, I live in Lexington, but I work in Georgetown, so that's like a 2 hour drive. So I drove there like immediately after work. Got there, went to the fair, went through the roller coasters, stuff rides like that. I went to the show. It was the first FTC show that I went to. I know Nurse Micah was there. Boulder was there. Lovely Miss Larkin was there, and a plethora of others. And it was also the day that Terry Funk passed away, so there was a hardcore tribute um,
Mhm.
in the main event. So it was a good show, and I ran into Bobby afterwards. So it was a fun show. You are in some Ohio areas, and
Mhm.
northern Kentucky specifically, Ashland. Um, FTC they got numerous of shows coming up in the fall, so check them out. FTC Wrestling, and check out Sarah body slamming people left and right. So yeah, I see. Speaking of FTC and those that are within that promotion, I see you have a show coming up on November the 4th, I believe. You are going up against the show pony, Reese Ramon. You have numerous matches with her over the course of your career so far. Route 33 Wrestling is the name of the
Mm.
promotion. Talk about this match you got coming up with the show pony.
Well, I mentioned it in the promo that I posted. I think that might have been yesterday. But Reese and I have quite an extensive history. Actually, this month makes 2 years since my debut match, and she was actually part of my debut match. It was a tag team thing, and she was on the opposite team. But she and I, we've had it all. Like we've had gimmick matches. I don't know if that's allowed to say or not, but we've had street fights, we've had all out brawls, you know, um, we've had tag matches. She's she's got the best of me, honestly. I've got the best of her. I've heard from fans that she has cheated her way to a win. I don't know because the whole point of cheating is that nobody sees it. So, but I've heard from fans. I've had little kids come up to me and say, "She did this, she did this, she did," and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, are you serious?" Like, so, um, but and somebody asked me the other day, "How many matches have you had against her?" And I said, "Honestly, I don't know." Um, I've heard that wrestlers actually keep track of every match they've ever had. I don't really do that because for me, it's not so much about the wins and losses as it is about leaving an impact. Um, I want the fans to go home and be like, "Oh my gosh, that Sarah Bubbles." Not so much, well, did she win or lose? But she made me feel something. You know what I mean? Like for me, it's about pulling the emotion. The whole, if I win, they're super up, they're super excited, they're super, but if something happens to me, I want to hear the gasp. That's what I want. So if I win or if I lose, as long as they remember me, that's what I want. Because you can't win them all, and I understand that, and that's okay. Anyway, but I have ADHD, so you got to keep me on track here, Kenny. Back
Gotcha,
to Reese.
gotcha.
We actually had a run in at Route 33 back in March, I want to say. Um, and I got the win on her there. But then she has been there at least one more time since then, and I think she faced Judy Ray Hendricks. And then they asked me to come back, and they said we want to get you with Reese again. And I said, okay, okay. So Reese's already been messaging me and saying stuff, like you're not going to get me this time. I'm ready. There's nothing you can do. And so we'll see what happens. I mean, I don't know, but I'm ready. I'm training as much as I can, and I've learned all of her tricks. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I know what to look out for now because I know that she's sneaky, and I know what she's got, and I know she likes to hide things on her body. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's in Spencer, West Virginia. It's way out there, but man, they put on a good show. Um, it's a Jess. Oh, I always say her last name wrong. McCummers, maybe. It's a female ran promotion, and that's what I love. I love Jess so much. And you don't see a lot of female ran promotions around, but she does. She really puts a lot into her show, and she puts a lot into taking care of her wrestlers. It's one of my favorite promotions to work for.
Well, shout out to Jess. Shout out to all the female WAM promoters in professional wrestling that's
Mhm.
putting in the work constantly. And obviously, it's important to support independent wrestling, but it's also very important to support these females. That's because we know how wrestling is, and we know how society is. Women have to work twice as hard to get that respect and everything. So to everybody in Route 33 Wrestling, continue to support Jess, to continue to support the promotion and the wrestlers that you see, cheer, boo. As long as you're having fun, that's just what it boils down to. So you mentioned that on November 4th. You got any other upcoming matches, upcoming shows? Now that we in the fall, the cold weather's kicking in. You got any other upcoming shows there, sir?
Um, I have some things that I'm in negotiations with, but I don't know that I've nailed anything down. This is the time of year for me where it tends to slow down. Um, I tend to spend more time with my family around the holidays and stuff. So my kids are really big on Halloween. Like my son yesterday was like, "Mom, it is October and we don't have our decorations up." And I'm like, "Okay." So we had to put all our decorations up last night. Um, but then it's all about Thanksgiving, and then it's about getting ready for Christmas. And so this is the time that I tend to take a step back a little bit, and I'll take some time off until the new year. But I have heard talks that FTC is going to have a big year in 2024, even like right out the gate. So we'll just have to wait and see. But I haven't nailed anything down for certain. I have a few more dates that I'm throwing around in November and maybe even a couple in December, but I don't want to say anything until they're finalized.
Gotcha.
But I'm
So,
really good at posting on my Instagram and my Facebook. So if I do get them out, I will be posting them as soon as they're for sure.
and you can follow Sarah on Instagram at Sarah underscore bubbles underscore 740. Again, that's Sarah, that's with H, by the way, underscore bubbles underscore 740. And she'll keep you posted. So the only confirmed show she has as of right now is November the 4th, Spencer, West Virginia, Route 33 Wrestling goes 1-on-1 with the show Pony Reese Ramon, a pair of FTC rivals making their way to West Virginia on early November. So make sure you go check that out. Sarah, it has been good to have you on the show. Thank you for taking the time, especially as you get ready to go on with your training. So I will conclude the interview on that note. Thank you for your time. And I will say this, either by the end of this year or at some point in 2024, I will see Sarah Bubbles wrestle. I don't know where, I don't know when, I don't know how, but hopefully, I will see you. I know you was at New South Wrestling earlier this year, and that was
Mhm.
one of the shows that I missed. So you go to a show near me and I miss, and I go to your home promotion, and you, so it's like we're playing cat and mouse with each other. So, but
Abs Well, listen, I'm gonna hold you to it. I'm gonna be
yeah,
looking for you.
yeah. I didn't say, yeah, yeah. You can't hold me to it. I haven't say when or where. I just say something, at least Ohio or Kentucky. Let me just say that. Because you do be in one of those areas. So we'll see. But continue success, continue growth in your journey as a professional wrestler. Much respect to FTC, to Bobby, to everybody that's wrestled there. And thanks again for your time, Sarah. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, you take care. You enjoy your night.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye bye.